That is a 335 we saved from last episode. And we found another one, so let's just get into it. This here is my 1970 something Skidoo Olympic. You can tell it's Olympic because the little emblem says so on the hood, you know. It's got some cool features. Aftermarket rivets and hood cracks. Yeah, that wasn't factory, if you can believe that. And it's got one of these flip headlight machines. I mean, that's pretty cool. You know, I don't have much history on this rig, other than sitting in, you know, tree grove, bushes about that high, and threw her in the back of the pickup and drug it back to the shop. Why do I want another Olympic, you might ask? You know, you got one already. Well, it's for the pieces and the parts. Like this headlight. That should fit any land hood, you know? And the track and the bogies and the real gem I'm after here is what's underneath this hood. Another 335, yep. You know, at first glance, it appears to all be there. It's got interesting wiring, definitely not factory, which I approve of. It's got a muffler, secondary, primary. What else does a guy need? I don't know. We'll take you guys in here and check her out real good. Then maybe we'll check for spark, check the piston out, see if we can't make something happen. Pretty excited about this chain case here because, you know, it looks very similar to an Elan chain case. I know the Olympics came with them and they're a little bit taller, but I think this may be an Elan case off of, like, you know, an SS or something. We got dual chainage in here, so that's pretty exciting. We're saving on that for sure. Now this 335 on the other hand, it's, you know, there, and it's got a piston in it, I think. Other than that, I don't know a thing about it, or the history of it, or why it was parked. So that ought to be good. It's got a Tilson HR on it, you know, and it's all free. It doesn't look the prettiest at the moment, but ultrasonic cleaner should fix that up. And other than that, you know, there's really nothing left. A little bit of a belt in the goodie box, and you can save on that tail lip, maybe. Underneath, the track looks to be, you know, there. So we'll save on that, and we'll save on the bogies, and who knows what else. But let's just, you know, dive on in this motor and see what's going on. There's another one of those big old 1-inch spark plugs we're going to try to get out. Hopefully she ain't too stuck. Oh, little stuck, nothing too crazy. Well, it don't look too bad. It's off the electrode just a wee bit there, a little crooked, but I don't know. Looks like a spark plug to me. An M22 ND. Let's get a scope in there and, you know, check out the cylinder and see what's in there, if there is anything in there at all. I'm gonna get a better one of these one day, but this is what I got for now, so this is what we're gonna use. Better than nothing. Okay, let's, ooh, I don't look too bad in there. Like, better than I was expecting, I guess. No rust, that's good. Once again, we're gonna, you know, put an ample amount of this clots in there, just because we can. That should be enough there. Oh yeah, she's free. Oh, that's my clots oil doing its thing. Oh yeah, it's not gritty at all, so, you know, I think we're gonna be okay. This rig doesn't have a recoil, so we're gonna go over to the other 335 and borrow it for a minute. Slap her on here, give her a good pull since we don't have any grindy noises and the cylinder walls look really good. and see if we ain't got some spark. If we got some spark, maybe we'll take the gas tank and the, you know, carburetor off the other one, slap it on here, and make it run. But first we need the spark. Let's do a crankshaft check real quick. Oh yeah, she's solid. I've had 247s in the past where when you wiggle this, the whole crankshaft goes, and I don't know. It's not good, but it still runs. She's pretty tight. Let's put this recoil on. 4 bolts, you know, should just, yep, like that. Find the holes. Something like that. I'm gonna give this rig a good pull. We're gonna check for some sparks. Oh, 0 sparkles. That's not good. So we're gonna start eliminating problems. For one, this plug cap has seen its better days. So we're gonna, you know, fix on that. We're gonna snap on this cheap NGK one. It's probably worse than the one I just took off, but you know, sometimes you just do what you gotta do. I got a fresh AB7 we can slap on there. You know, maybe it's a spark plug. The 247s, they got a pretty good, you know, attitude to them. Sometimes they'll just blow a plug because they want to. Okay, let's try her again. I'm still seeing 0 spark. This could be bad. What I'm seeing here is most of the wire nuts are for the lighting and whatnot, so that's all right. We got our coil wire coming up here and the ground coming down, and they're not connected, so we should have spark. Next, we're gonna take a socket, put on this flywheel nut, and then stick a, you know, extension out, put a drill on there, and get this baby just turning over. I'm not sure why, you know, if the flywheel's got rust on it or something. I've done this before with quite a few 247s, and you turn them over for like a minute, it seems like. All of a sudden they start sparking. So we're gonna try that before we dig into her. Let's try this. Nothing yet. I'm gonna try putting on one more plug. Yeah, we got 0 spark. Let's just, you know, shut the lights off and then really give her the beans. Maybe it'll come around. As you can see, we may have found our culprit to why this rig was parked up. No spark. And this 335 doesn't have an external coil. So that means, you know, pull the motor and pop the flywheel off and yeah, play with some points and the condenser and, you know, the generator and the coil. Generator we really don't have to worry about, but definitely, probably points and condenser. That's what I'm leaning towards. So let's take those 4 bolts out, pull this engine out, get it somewhere where we got a height advantage on it. Let's get this shield out of the way. This is kind of rinky-dinky plastic. I'd be a little concerned if the belt blew and this was all if I was on there, because I think you're still going to get hit by a belt, but minor details, right? Guess it's better than nothing. So it's going to be these 4 bolts again, you know, it's Skidoo things. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Let's get her done. Yeah. First, let's lube it up. That one's stuck. There we go. A little bit of a correction. It can help. Normally does. To get them exhaust bolts out, I use a wobbler extension on a wobbler extension. Works pretty good, you know. Out you come, exhaust. Yep. It's still stuck. Like, great. That didn't work. Okay, that's fun. We're taking out 4 more bolts. Great. Those aren't stuck at all. I'm sure all the DeWalt fanboys are disappointed in me right now, but you know, it's okay, because Milwaukee got her done. And I ain't got a big DeWalt yet, so yep. Let's, you know, get the motor out and get back on track. We kinda slowed down progress. Yeah. Not good. Ah. And we're just gonna, you know. Ah. Oh boy. It appears we got some custom voltage going on for the exhaustage. Yeah, somebody capped this baby already, so nice. Ah. Oh, what's hooked? Oh, hey, we should probably take the throttle off. That makes sense. Just moving along so fast, I completely forgot. We got the throttle edge removed, so the motor should, you know, just ease out. Let's try it. It's gonna go good. Stupid wires. Oh! I tore my exhaust boot. That's unfortunate. Let's start by getting this plate off. Ta-da. That was one of the most stuck plates I've had, but as you can see, this is a well-modified engine mount. Pretty heavy duty, you know. Someone's been in here playing, of course. I like it. I might have to save on it, for sure. zero sparkles. Don't pull your flywheel like this. Don't do it. Aggressive. It works, just don't do it. I'm gonna end up breaking something one of these times. I promise you that. There's some rust in our flywheel. We'll clean that all out real good, best of our ability. Make sure our timing knob thing is moving freely. It's a little sticky, not too bad. Timing lobe, she's cammed over, little lobe here, your points right on that, and every time you make a circle. That's where you get your sparkles from. Someone has already been in this before. You can tell by that wire crimp back there and the electrical tape on the generator. We're not going to worry about that though. It should still want to run once we clean her up, so that's what we're gonna do. Probably take this old point set off and the condenser. Yep. To get this points out of here, I got a selection of tiny tools. 7/32. Yeah, that's an oldie. A frickin' points wrench, which is also old, and a little pliers. Let's see if we can't get her done. These points are getting down there. There ain't too much left, especially on this bottom one. And they're worn and old, and our shoe's a little tired, and it'll be a good thing to put some new ones on there. We got ourselves a fresh point set here. Got that little C-clip back on there. Now we're gonna take that bolt out, put our, digital wires on the bottom of that, set our points gap, eventually here, settle down. And yeah, we're getting there. Okay, we're gonna take our two little wires off the condenser here, attempt to. I'm not very good at this. I just, get her done. Here we go. Now she's getting hot. Pull that wire out. There. The wires are removed. I use the channel locks. And get that out of there. Probably ain't the way you're supposed to do it, but it's the way I do it. It seems to work all right. See, it's out. It's not, very pretty, but it's out. Before I install these, I like to make a mark where the old one sat on the new one, so I know about how far I got to go down. So somewhere's in there. It should bottom out, but I really don't want to bottom it out. I'm just gonna tap it in nice and flush. I've got it seated in that hole there. I'm gonna use this socket, use the back side of it so it goes around the little nipple there, and then lay it on there and just tap it in gently. Somewhere's like that in there, abouts. Should work fine as long as we're lower than this. Yep. Now my favorite part, trying to solder these back on. It goes, pretty good. I'm not very good at soldering, so that's probably, my biggest issue. But getting better, every day. Let's put a little bit on here. Oh, that's not going very good. There we go. That is, you know, done. Is it pretty? No. The wires are on there though, so it's good. Now we're gonna clean up on our coil and on our generator. I'm gonna do the same thing to the flywheel. I got some Scotch-Brite though. That should, you know, suffice for what we're trying to do here. Hey, can I see that? Come here. What do you got? Hey, sit down. Berryman's B12, that's some good stuff. It's empty. See, this dog, she knows how to work on motors too, at least a little bit. There, these magnets are looking a whole lot better already. You know, just getting the use and abuse off of them. I shouldn't say that, probably just the dirt and whatnot, but yeah, that'll do. This is your timing advance dewdicker thingy, you know. It goes like this. Centrifugal force pulls it over and it pulls that cam lobe, you know, open or shut to advance your timing. You know, it's pretty genius. These old fellers, they really knew what they were doing. But you know, that sits in there, and when you're really giving her the beans, this thing starts opening up, you know, and that little slot moves onto that lobe, and yeah, it's science. It's cool though. And it works, you know, pretty darn good, as long as this guy can move freely. So we're gonna put a little bit of lubrication on there, work them a little bit, and then probably blow it all off so it doesn't, you know, collect dust in there. But this one just had a little bit of a stick, but it's, you know, coming around already. Something like that. See how she's working? I'm gonna blow a little extra lube out of there. I got impact over here on the clutch side, and I'm just gonna turn this motor around with my, you know, Scotch-Brite in there. Whoop, a little too fast. And we're just gonna clean up on her a little bit. It's a lot easier than my, you know, big old smudgers trying to get in there and cleaning things up. There, look at there. Looking a whole lot better, nice and shiny. That's what I want it to look like. I ran our spring and you know, the lobe through the ultrasonic cleaner. Try to get some of that crud off there. This is one of the dirtiest ones I think I've seen. So we're gonna wipe this down good, you know, hit her with the Scotch-Brite. Just get, you know, the gunk off here so it's gonna do its thing more efficiently and better. You know, so let's get that done quick. Probably put a little bit of lithium grease on the inside of this. Not on the shaft so much, just, you know, on the inside of this rig. This is a good time to check out your inner crankshaft seal. And it looks, you know, to be there. So it's, yep, it's going to check out for now. That's kind of a task and a half. I'm sure we'll do one eventually. I think I got, you know, 5 of these little single cylinders ripper now. So it's only a matter of time, and we'll, you know, be diving into crankshafts and all that fun jazz. Which I don't know much about, but... So now we're going to start putting all the fun stuff together, you know, spring on there to adjust that. And then this little guy is going to slide right on in there. It's moving much more freely, so that's, you know, good. I'm going to put our half moon key in here. The gap on this should be set at 16 supposedly. That's what the internet says, at least. We'll see where we're at there. I think we're pretty darn close. Yep. That's where she wants to be. You can see as I rotate this lobe around, the points close and then they will open. And of course this is set by the flywheel, you know, that key lines up with the advance, and that's how that works. A lot of science going on there, but it should be sitting pretty darn good right there. Make sure everything's tight, slap the flywheel back on. Got the flywheel set back on there. And you can see this is our lobe guy here. If you move that, you can see the advancement moving. So that's lined up. Just gotta, you know, get her onto that keyway. It can be a little tricky. There it is, right there. And we make sure our advancement's still working. Sure is. Now we'll get a light in here, make sure, you know, when we turn it over, the points open and close, and that they're still at that 16 thousandths, and then, you know, we'll zap the nut back on there and check for spark. Got some light now. We can watch them points in there. See if they're doing what they're supposed to be. There's open, closed, back to open, closed, open. Yeah. Here we go. So we got spark now. Oh yeah. Lots of spark. That's good. That's really good. That's really, really good. We're gonna zip off our 4 bolts holding the shroud on. This shroud should, you know, come all the way off since the bolts aren't snapped like the last 335. So that's good. And once we do that, we'll hit her with the air gun real good. Make sure we ain't got no debris or anything on there. And then pop the head off, check out the piston. You know, I got a feeling these rings might be stuck just because of where it was at and whatnot. So we're just gonna, you know, check on it since it's already out. Let's get this thing, you know, cleaned up a little bit. Get the cobwebs out of her. Let's pull this head off here. I'm gonna lube them up, and I'm gonna use my impact, you know, so I don't pull the studs out. I want just the nuts to come out, so that's why we're gonna do that. That went good. Very good. Come on now. There we go. The bottom ring appears to be, you know, loose, so that's good. See if we can see this top ring spinning. Bottom ring's moving, but the top ring appears to be stuck. We're gonna pull the cylinder off now because that top ring ain't moving like it should be. There. Oh, look at all the junk coming out of them threads. That's always fun. Gonna get some paper towels shoved down there so nothing drops down the crank. See, our gasket there is shot. I might have one for 250. I think the bottoms are the same, so it might fit. We'll see. I got some more vacuuming to do. Gonna clean up on these studs a little bit so they don't keep dropping rusting crap on our working area here. This is all pretty normal for, you know, a 50-year-old engine. Things ain't gonna be factory anymore, especially not when they sit out in the woods, you know. But it's nothing a little bit of elbow grease you can't fix. So I'll show you here why we took that sleeve off. The ring here, she's stuck in place. And that happens, you know, when they sit around and whatnot. This other side, you know, that's good. She's free, she moves, goes around that retaining pin, you know, everything's good. But this side, the exhaust side, which is usually the side that does get stuck, you know, because they're left, you know, open to the elements and whatnot, she don't move. So we're gonna try to, you know, work it, see if we can't get these rings fixed. If we can't get these rings to come around, we'll probably just have to find a new piston to put in it, but it's not a big deal. These things get brittle when they're old too, so you Gotta be careful not to just snap them. Oh, there the bottom one just moved. There. Something like that. Now we just gotta get that top one loose. You know, it might have ran for a while like this, but you're gonna be losing some compressions when that ring's sitting like that. The top one appears to be a little more stuck. The bottom one's free though. He's ready to rock. That'll build some compression. Oh, it's coming. Here we go. There. Top one's free too. Now I'm going to lube them up real good and just keep working them back and forth and trying to get the gunk out of there so they don't re-seize. It's kind of the plan, but that's what we're looking for. You want them to be loose. I could tell from looking in the exhaust side that it wasn't loose. Just working on cleaning some of that carbon off the top of this piston head. With the goal, I might put her on the drill and just, you know, gently. So there we got all the carbon off, you know, the top of the piston, and you know, I know it's not the right way to do it. If you're gonna do this the right way, you'd find a new piston, rings, you know, hone out your cylinder, get everything perfect, new gasket set. You're looking at 200, 250 bucks down the drain right there. Well, a guy only paid $40 for the whole sled, so I'm not gonna dump that kind of money into something when I can just go on Facebooks and find another one for $35. Especially not right now. You know, if we like this engine, whatever, we can do a rebuild on it when this one gives out, but there's no point for me to be throwing, you know, money towards something that's probably gonna run just as good, probably not just as good, but pretty darn close to as good with, you know, a rebuild kit engine. And who knows, maybe this thing's got other internal problems we haven't checked. So this ain't really, you know, a rebuild. This is a Craigslist rebuild, and it's a pretty intense one at that. So you just pipe down there and hush up. It's gonna be fine. We're gonna see if we can't make this thing work. What'd you find now there, Retriever? Come here, sit. What's in there? That looks a lot like an AB8. Oh, my bad. AB7. Plug inside. Thanks. Where'd you find that at? Huh? Where'd you find that at? We're just gonna start cleaning up around, you know, the base gasket area. Try to get her looking, you know, decent. Just using, you know, our Scotch-Brite. We're not pushing real hard. We're just trying to get the stuff on top off. I do got a gasket set laying around, you know, from a 250 twin, but I'm pretty sure these bases, the cranks and things are the same. You know, they just changed the cylinder diameter and whatnot, but we're gonna check and make sure, and if it is, that's going on the bottom. So there will be one new gasket on this rig. Just doing some light Scotch-Brighting on this to make sure, you know, all that old gasket material is gone and everything's gonna seat up nice on that new gasket. We're gonna give this jug some gentle honing, you know, try to get her at that 45 degrees about. See what that's looking like. You know, we're not trying to do a full hone job, but just enough to let them rings reseat, you know. That's looking pretty good. Nothing too crazy. Just enough, you know, that's all we need. There's about 45-degree hashes in there. I'm liking that. Our fresh gasket. Something like that. Now the fun part, trying to get this piston sleeve in here, you know. There. Now we're just gonna ease her into place onto our gasket. Something like that. Looking pretty good. Put a little 2-stroke oil on there, help lube up our piston rings, all that fun stuff. Just a fuzz. We put, you know, too much in there, of course, but should do the trick. Gonna get everything cleared off of here now. Get ready to put our gasket back on, our head gasket. Something like that. Whoa. Okay then. We're gonna have some jumpers. Got the head nice cleaned up. There's no more junk around her, so she should be good to go on there, you know. Like I said before, this ain't, you know, a rebuild. This is a Craigslist rebuild, and we're doing a pretty darn good job at it. Line up that head, the gaskets look clean, and there we go. Seated on there. Move the spark plug out of the way for now. We're just gonna start, you know, torquing the head down. We're gonna go to about 20 foot-pounds, doing a crisscross pattern. And yeah, after that, probably slap a carburetor on here and, well, first we're gonna check, make sure we got compression. Then put it back together, throw a carburetor on here and see if we can't make some noise. We're rocking the old school torque wrench again. Yep. Make sure our little lever, yeah, she's moving pretty good. It's looking good. Let's throw that cover on here and, you know, whatever else we got to get done. I'm sure I'm forgetting something, but minor details. It's kind of nice, you know, these holes are not perfectly centered, so you're going to put the fan on the same way no matter how hard you try. They were thinking out for, you know, us kind of guys, and guys that just kind of rip into things back in 1972. I tell you what, they don't do that nowadays. Before I tighten this, I'm going to find my cone, stick that on there too, just to keep things, you know, straight. Or that could use a little buffing. So I went and borrowed some, you know, bolts I found from another 250 motor. You know, it should be about the same for the casing. So let's put them on in here and, you know, we'll start getting things looking like a motor again. We got our motor put back together here, and she's about ready to be tested on. But I'm thinking we're gonna pull the motor out of Old Faithful here, you know, the last 335 we fixed. Use the carburetor off of this and the gas tank and the chassis because we know that that all works, and we just want to test on the motor. This rig over here, you know, she's gonna get parted out anyways, and I don't want to put the time and the effort of trying to make, you know, the skis turn, they're stuck, and the handlebars and the throttle cable and all that. I don't want to do that because it's just going to turn into parts. So what we're going to do, you know, just pull this 335 out, drop that one in, hook up the carburetor and the gas lines and all that fun stuff, and let's test on that. We'll put this 335 on the shelf for now. That's going to go on a future project for sure. And that one, you know, if it runs, it's going to power this unit for as long as we keep it, and then this unit's going to turn into parts too, eventually. Anyways, enough talking. Let's, you know, pull that out and put this in, right? Yep. Got the other 335 pulled out of there. We're gonna swap the carburetor over quick now. Should go pretty good. We're gonna borrow on this gasket too, because we can. I didn't pull the old gasket off this one, so it should be fine. We'll just make sure we winch her down, you know, tight. Oh boy, that's gonna get a little closer with our throttle plate, but I think it should work, you know. I don't know why, but this carburetor doesn't have a long flange and the bolts are shorter. Don't know what's going on there, but something is. Got the carburetor secure on there. Or we should have enough room for our throttle plate and linkage, you know, to shoot on down there. Tighten her in. I think it's gonna work. You know, it should run because it ran this motor pretty darn good. And you know, it's same CC and everything, so. Next up, before we get too excited here, we're gonna pop open this clutch and check things out. See what's going on inside there. Probably hasn't been open for, you know, a good couple of years. 20, 30, 40, I don't know. Oh boy. Whoa. Probably a good thing we opened her up. There's a little bit of wear on the bars, but it's not bad, actually. I think she's just a little dirty. We'll get the cobwebs out of there and whatnot, you know. They are moving smooth. A little sticky on this guy, but they're not wore that bad, so that's good. Once again, with this 335, we got a 7/8 shaft. Let's see, I can't get this lubed off there. It needs some lube, like bad. But I don't know. I'm thinking it's gonna work. Let's get this stuff in the parts wash and get her to clean up a little bit. There, getting that bearing nice and loose. Looser, I should say. It's not perfect, but got the primary, you know, kind of cleaned up. I'm gonna put a little bit of grease on there. Something like this. There, she's moving pretty freely. Something like that. Clutch is doing the clutch thing. Let's install. Just gonna put this on in here. Are you gonna help, or are you just gonna stand there and stare? Okay. So this rig only has 3 mounting bolts. That makes it easier. We're gonna make a mess now. I forgot to drain the crank after I oiled her up real good. So, yeah. Oh yeah, it wasn't too bad. Cool. We're gonna plumb our fuel lines now. So we got the crank drained and all that fun jazz. There. We got throttlage. That's good. Next up, you know, throw a spark plug in the hole, give her a couple of rips on the old, oh, we still have to put a recoil on. We're gonna get this AB7 put in here, you know, sparkle later. It's one thing colder than the original, but should still run off of her. It's getting hard to find the AB8s. I don't know who's scarfing them all up, but I don't know. You can find AB7s everywhere, AB8s, not so much. So, we're back at that fun stage again where we see if we can't bring some life back into another motor. We know the carburetor works because we pulled this 335 into here, and we got spark and compression, so if things go right, it should run. The one thing that could really, get us on this rig are, of course, crankshaft seals. It's been sitting around for who knows how long. I got a feeling it was just parked because it quit sparking. That can happen. Or, it could have been parked for another reason, but let's try to get this rig started. We got some electric start and spray bottle here. That should be an ample amount. Whoa! Come on now. I think she's gonna run. Before we get too excited, I put the clutch cover back on. I'm gonna be wearing my helmet and gloves and whatnot. You never know, she might just blow a piston, shoot a spark plug. Spark plug comes right back at you and hits you in the chest if it does come out. So that's great. But, my used gasket doesn't seem to be leaking at all. And my base gasket looks good. And everything else looks good. So that's good. She's ready to do some hot laps, I think, so better get to her. Well, a couple bolts are rattling out, to be fair, but other than that, here's another 335 running. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to Rotten and Forgotten. It's been a fun couple episodes, 2 more motors, but I think on the next one, we're going to tear one of these rigs down and start building a new rig. And I think I got just the chassis for it, so tune in next week. We'll catch you later, I guess. Anyways, I got things to do. Until next time.